Okay. Okay. All right. Basically, what we got going on right now, there's multiple things, multiple factors, multiple. We already got rid of the drop ceiling that actually went from here to here. Right now, I just talked to the homeowner, Kathy, Kate. And long story short, she believes that she would like to probably just go with where that existing 2x4 is, not the one that's inside the roof's cavity. Me personally, I would rather have it inside the roof's cavity. The only problem is I'm gonna actually have to cut the actual beam to get it perfectly in the center. I think realistically, I'm gonna have to cut it to get it perfectly in the center. The wall is gonna basically follow this one going all the way down. So I'm gonna put another 2x4 going across, and I just have to give them the right. I'm gonna go home and do a little bit more research before I open my mouth up too much about which ones they can put in here and which ones they can't. If it was me, I would imagine if we can't get one that can go on the slope of a building, meaning following the actual, I want to call this a 4/12 pitch, 4/12 pitch. If we can't get one that can run sideways, then we'll do what we got to do. But ideally, if we can get one that can run sideways, we can just cut that box off and I can box it in, basically going from one point to the other point, catching it and making sure that it's supporting the roof in this general area. And then I can basically have it be perfectly in the center and the exhaust shoot directly out the side. But I don't know for a fact. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to play this out. There's also another factor is this: they lay 2x4s going flat across rather than going horizontal. So I'm going to have to make sure that the bench or the valve they picked up will actually fit inside of a 1 by basically 1.5-inch cavity. And if it doesn't, then I'll have to fur out this entire wall. Maybe even just slap another 2x4 on here, bring it out another 1.5 inches, or just go get some 1x3, 1x4, and come in and just staple it everywhere going across. I don't really want to just shim it out because I like the fact that the wall is sitting flat against this 2x4 and it's actually keeping this wall from bowing. So if I did do it, I would basically take it from this point all the way to that corner, this point to that corner, and I'll do what I need to do. I am planning on putting the shampoo shelf here. Basically, I'm going to cut this pipe, run it across, take it into actually this cavity here, and then that's where I'll catch my actual plumbing. So one of the plans we could do is either put the shampoo shelf in this cavity, or this cavity. Once I move the pipe, make it a little bit taller because it's going to be skinnier than most. I want to say it's slightly skinnier. But we can make it a double shelf if we want. If you really want to make sure that we can get this bad boy in the center, I can actually cut this cast iron pipe it over, and then bring it up through here, and then basically take it back over, just so I can have my shampoo shelf. But it really just matters how bad you want it to be in the center, if you want it to be in the center. I mean, granted, we're already moving this to over here in the center to have it be centered. We're going to do what we can to have this be centered. I'll have to check the drain to see what's going to have to happen there. But it really is just a preference and how much money do you want to throw at a guest bathroom. But in my personal appearance, whenever I have a guest bathroom and I have multiple families using this bathroom, usually they bring their own gear. So the bigger the shampoo shelf, the better, in my personal opinion. I believe we also got some stuff. Whoa. We got some daylight, if you can't see it there. So we're going to need to address that in case we want any more rats in here. So this is going to need to be filled in with concrete, and then that is definitely going to need some foam at very least. And there's different parts that need to be patched. Nothing huge, nothing crazy, nothing we're stressing over, but everything needs to be taken care of, because once I close these walls up, you will not have any more access to them. So it's going to be a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts. I'm going to figure out how this is going to end, because as of right now, going off of the tile, it looks like this wood is perfectly at the end, has the perfect depth of this. I can either put a 1/2-inch stick on top of this one, which the shower is already tiny, so a little piece of me it is. My only thing is if I had to, I would want to cut these boards out and then basically scoot them in farther, so that way there's this wood sitting on top of something, because right now it's barely catching it at points, but it is catching the sides, so that's good. Could be good enough. I don't know how you feel about it. So, but the plan was originally to put a 1/2 inch stick board right on top of this one and then float it out and then have a 1/2 inch return. You're really only gaining 1/2 of an inch if you don't do it that way. But I mean, the shower is already looking bigger just by tearing out the drop ceiling and getting rid of the returns, because there was a return here on this side. You can actually still see the footprint of the return, and then the tile came down. But there's just a lot of stuff to unpack here. A lot of crossroads. My game plan for tomorrow is, one, I'm gonna do all the framing that I need to do. I'm gonna mess with that drain, pen in the concrete, fill that in, fill in everything, put in the insulation. I actually am hoping to get this plumbing done. That'd be really nice if I can get this plumbing done. And then that'll set me up for me and John coming in here and paper last scratching. So at very least, I mean, ideal situation is I get it all done in one day, just have one really long day. I gotta look at my schedule and see if I can get it done. But that's the point we're rocking here. That cast iron kind of got in the way of things. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I can move anything they want me to move. But I really need to figure out that valve. And I should figure out that valve right this second. And I'm probably going to make sure that I can even get that valve in this situation. And granted, I am going to be floating this out at very least 1/2 of an inch. So I might just be putting a dam board right here on the edge and then doing what I got to do, floating. And then when it's time, I'll wrap around and have the tile basically return into this wood, and that one on top of this wood. Realistically, it might be into this wood, just depending on how I play this out. It's hard to say. Originally, we were going to have the tile die on top of it, and then he was just going to put this board, or make a new board, on the edge of my tile, and that was it. But, looks like there's going to be some changes. We'll see how it plays out. I got to think it through and get back to the homeowners. So, here we go.